Hi and welcome again to Thrifty Art Thursday. Today I'm going to talk about making stamps out of erasers. You can make them, these ones are the cheapest. I get them for Meijer, 5 for $1. But any of these white erasers, you just have to look at them when they're in the package and make sure they don't have something printed on them. Otherwise you'll be printing their thing. This one, I don't know if you can see it, it has little Trojan guys, I guess, on it. So that doesn't work. But the ones that are plain work really well. You can kind of see some things I've made. Those are just goof around stuff. Today I'm going to carve a skull for Halloween. And you just make a simple design. I like to use pen. Just a warning, if you use Sharpie marker, for the first 20 or so stamps, you'll get this lovely little black Sharpie outline. Doesn't matter what color you stamp with, you just seem to get it anyway. And what I'm carving with here is a linoleum cutter. It comes with these, it's under 10 bucks. It's well worth the investment, I think. You can also use a plain old X-Acto knife, which I think just about every artsy crafty person has or ought to have. You can just go in, and you go in at a slant with this. If you cut straight down, you'll end up cutting underneath where you want to print. So you have to cut at a slant like that, just around the outline. And then you kind of go and cut the other side of it. Try to think in terms of cutting out chunks rather than outlining everything necessarily. And then, look, there goes a piece. My weird noises on YouTube. You just go through and cut stuff out. I actually find I prefer the linoleum cutter on the erasers just because they are kind of stretchy and gummy, and it makes them a little weird to work with sometimes because as you're carving, it moves a little bit. That brings up another point. You don't want to carve too deep or too fast with this, because otherwise you'll get these weird little jaggy marks on the edge of where you carved, because when you're carving, it'll pull, sort of like a sewing machine can do when the tension's not right, for you sewers out there. And so you just kind of continue around, and when you're making a design, you want to think about the negative versus positive space and what color of ink you're planning on using, because you can get white ink or whatever color. The white can be really cool, and I'll show you an example of how you can. Right here, you can see I carved a snowflake stamp out of another stamp, a bigger one. And it's printed in the red, and then it's printed in pink, which is red printed into the white, just after I printed that one. And then the white and the snowflakes you can see on the darker paper look really nice in the white ink. And that's the way I designed them to be printed. If you wanted to make a snowflake on a white piece of paper, you would have to leave the part that I had carved. In this case, I left the snowflake in relief. That's the up part. But if I wanted the snowflake to print white on white paper, I would need to leave the background up and carve the snowflake. For the skull, I am carving the skull, so I'm going to be printing this on white paper so that it comes out actually white, like a skull, instead of some other weird funky color. I suppose you could print a different color skull, I don't know. And so I've got this little design up here. I was looking at all the really cool sugar skulls that they have out there, and I thought I'd add a little bit of that detail in there if I could get it. It's hard to get anything that fine when you're doing eraser stamps. It works really well for easy things like snowflakes, or I've got one with buttons, a little leaf one, a little bunny one. Think simple shapes. And then the bones, I already started on them. So we just carve those. It's better to go over it more than once. If you think it's not deep enough or you missed something, you can just go right back over it again. No big deal. And then another thing you can do, I'm at a point where I think, well, I've got just about everything. I can check to see where I'm at. I just take out my stamp pad. And that was my first one. I said, wow, that's really, really stupid. And I even used the Sharpie and, oh yeah, that's not a good idea. So you can kind of see him, I'm a scary thing. Not really. Okay, so voila, that's okay. You can see I need more work around the one eye, and but the teeth are looking pretty good, and I need the cheekbone more. It's really easy now to see where I need to carve, because I get this nice little outline. And I'm gonna make my teeth a little shorter. There we go. And then we go around the eye. You can see like that. And his nose is kind of weird and lumpy, so we clean that up a bit. Okay, now he looks like a dog. Let's try to bring that little V thing back there. There, that looks pretty good. All right. So I'm gonna bring out that bone just a little bit. And you can, what I find works best is you can actually, sometimes, I don't know if you're noticing, but I'm turning the block, the eraser, rather than this. I think that can often get you a cleaner cut. Kind of, no, good, get it on the table. Another thrifty art thing, rags. Rags are awesome, save them. Old clothes that are all worn out, make yourself a rag drawer and cut them up and put them in there. You can throw them in the wash, and it's eco-friendly, and it's cheap, and I love it. So there's my stamp. We'll ink it one more time. There we go. Bring it over here, and we'll do this one. Press it down, kind of get every little corner there, rock it a little bit with your fingertips. I'm sure all you stampers know a lot more about this than I do. And voila, it is a skull stamp. Hope you learned something, and see you next time.